Welcome back to Fourth and Favre. This is the Olympic edition, and I'm joined with Team USA's silver medalists, fresh off the boat or the plane, right? I'm sure you didn't take a boat over here. We have Emery Lehman, Casey Dawson, and Ethan Cepuran. How you guys doing?
Great.
Doing
Good.
well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Brett wants to say congratulations to you all for bringing home a silver medal for us. And the other thing, too, he wants to say sorry to Emery and Ethan. As Bears fans, there was probably a few times where he made you guys cry back in the day.
I mean, I was so young, but yeah, it's hard to remember any one instance, but yeah, it was I, I remember being let down a few Sunday afternoons and nights for sure.
Yeah, all I gotta say is new era Bears football. So change the culture with Ben Johnson. Good things to look forward to.
Good, better, best all day.
Here's what's interesting. At the beginning of the season, me and Brett didn't think the Bears would do much, and we ate crow. We were surprised. Caleb Williams came on and he played like an elite quarterback. The Bears they looked really good. They made some good decisions, and it came down to the Packers and Bears in the playoffs. And I thought for sure that the Packers were on their way to blowing the Bears out, and then somehow, some way, there was a rabbit out of the hat.
Ain't over till it's over, you know? I mean, that was the Bears story all year. I mean, it hooked us as fans the whole time. I mean, coming into the year, we weren't expecting a whole ton, just hopefully a little bit of improvement from last year, and it was really thrilling. I mean, I guess fortunately, before we went to Europe, the Bear season was over, so we didn't have to, stay up till 3 in the morning to watch. But it was a wild ride.
Casey, do they rub off on you? I know you're from Utah and you guys don't have a football team. So what do you do, Casey?
Well, actually, my mom's from Green Bay. So, she watched, Favre, back in the day, and it's, that I'm not huge into the NFL and everything. I'm probably bigger into basketball and NHL because that's what I grew up with in Utah. But I would definitely grow up watching Packers and the Patriots as well because my dad's from the East Coast. So yeah, I mean, growing up, skating with a bunch of Bears fans, it's definitely pretty funny because it's just such a big rivalry in sports. And I mean, I couldn't care less, but also it's I got to stay true to my mom's roots too. So I love the
But
Packers.
just you being a competitor, is there like a 1% chance that you want Jordan Love to stick it to Ethan and Emery?
Yeah, it's in my blood, I guess. It's probably my mom's blood that I have. I if they lost, they lost, but hey, I still run green a little bit for the Packers.
You
He
say we got
definitely
it.
loves. Yeah, he loves to see Ethan and I in misery for as Bears fans. So I think he comes to the
Yeah,
rink
they're talking
smiling
about
when
it.
yeah,
The,
when he knows we lost and we're gonna be in pain. He knows.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
there's
they
a
talk
whole
about it
lot of
all.
Packers fans involved in the sport, just from a lot of like the sport is rooted so much in Wisconsin with like Dan Jansen. I mean, Bonnie Blair lives there now and such, but so many people on our team come from Wisconsin and just the Midwest in general. So there's a lot of butting heads, and it definitely makes for a lot of fun.
Well, talk about your guys' competitive edge. I know you guys have been working together since 2022, and Ethan and Emery even before then. But what was the difference from? I think a lot of fans, one, will never know what it feels like to win a medal at the Olympic Games. I wrote Dan Henderson's autobiography. He went to two Olympics as a wrestler. He never medaled at all, but then he went on to become one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. So it's a success and failure story, but you guys have actually medaled. Did it feel different winning silver than it did bronze?
Yeah, I think we went into the games wanting the gold, um, and that was our whole mentality the last 4 years is we wanted to win, and, it was a good mentality to have, because every time we stepped to the line, we wanted to win, and it worked, the last 4 years. We were World Cup overall champions 5 years in a row. We were world champions last year. So, we had the right mentality going into the games. But the games is a different animal. It can take, you can give, you can get stuff taken away from you. And we felt good in the quarterfinals. Like that was our best race, in my opinion, at those games. But it's brutal because we have to skate two TPs on the semi and final day back to back. And, we've been training that a lot, but, um, you never know how your legs are going to feel on that day. And, um, you know, we we're feeling good leading up to it, but it's the TP is the hardest race in speed skating, in my opinion. And, even Jordan Stolz, who has won 2 gold medals and a silver at the games, he even said it himself, it's the hardest race he's ever done. So it's whoever has the best legs on the day. We still went into the day wanting to win. But the Italians, they had the better legs on that day. But we were so happy with our result in the end. I think it took a day to process and everything just to get into that gold silver round. We were just super proud to be racing against, the Italians on Italian ice and having so many people in the stands. It was a crazy experience, and we'll look back on the experience forever, and we have something to commemorate it with the silver medal. So it's pretty awesome.
Casey said it did feel different, right, from his perspective, but, I wanna get to Emery last because I read an article that you're retiring, but before we get to you, Ethan, did it feel different for you winning silver, or did it feel the same as the bronze?
Yeah, it definitely felt different. 4 years ago, winning bronze, I mean, we were gold medal favorites then as well. And losing in the semifinal versus the Russians was definitely like a bit of a punch to the face because, we wanted to be in that final. We wanted to be fighting for gold. So we felt like we should have been there. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, walking away with my first Olympic medal then, or our first Olympic medals then, was huge and exciting. And I mean, definitely going back into these games, Casey said it great. Our goal is to win. Anytime we stepped to the line the last 4 years, like it was blinders on, like that is, what does it take to win here? And it takes everything we got because individually, none of us are the best skaters in the world. And so we knew it took everything of us as individuals to come together as a team to, go out there and skate with the best 5K, 1500, 10K skaters. And yeah, I mean, I'm just proud of, the tenacity that we showed there. And we showed up on, I don't know what day of the week it was, but on that TP final day, we didn't want to let the Chinese come out and beat us in the semifinal. We wanted to right that wrong from last time. And I mean, after that, we knew we already had a silver medal in our pocket or at least a silver in our pocket. And so going to the line was just pure. I mean, it was just how bad do you want it? And I mean, we wanted it bad. We pulled ahead, and unfortunately, we blew up a bit. But I mean, we tried so hard there, and I mean, I'm always proud of that effort. I'm always proud of us because heck, 7 years ago, this was all just an idea, and walking away with a silver and a bronze after all that time and effort being put in, because I mean, it was the three of us willingly working together that whole time. And I'm just so proud that we continued to elevate ourselves to be, world champions, Olympic silver medalists, and having everybody come afterwards and like Olympians I grew up watching and just being like, hey, like, 'cause we were a little disappointed that we didn't win because that was our goal. And it was just like, but hey, medals don't come easy. Like, this is never guaranteed. Not like something could have happened to any three of us over the course of the games to where we may have not been able to put like the strongest team that we wanted to out there. And so, I mean, to still walk away with medals after all this time is just, yeah, truly amazing. Getting to stand up on that podium and see the American flag raised. Granted, we wanted it in the center and to hear the national anthem too, but It's just it's pretty amazing just to look back at now and celebrate.
And so, Emery, my question is, I read that you are calling it after this game, you're retiring. So, one, is that true? And if so, is it different for you knowing that you're not gonna go to France 4 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a weird feeling, being done. It's something that I've done for, 20 years of my life. So it's a weird feeling being done. I don't know if it's a weird feeling that I'm not gonna be going in France in 4 years just 'cause, it's every Olympics, it's a really hard road just to get there, and then to be able to compete for a medal like we do is makes it so much more special. And things have gotten pretty challenging, pretty tough, pretty competitive in our sport. And, like I said, like we could have gone win, all season, the last couple of years, world champions, world cups, and then go to the Olympics and get silver. And I think it just goes to show like the level of competition and the way people show up. And so I'm gonna definitely miss competitive sport, but I definitely don't think I'm gonna miss it in the fact that, I was wishing that I was going 4 more years or anything like that.
So, my follow-up would be, is it bittersweet that you did win silver, but the gold was, like, right there, and yet you're not gonna come back?
A little bit, yes, because we definitely wanted, like these two guys said, like we wanted to kind of upgrade our medal from the bronze. We felt like we were better than the bronze reflected and better than the silver maybe reflected this time around. But that's the beauty of sports. It's like people show up and do great things at the Olympics. You saw it across so many different events. I mean, look at our men's hockey team, like, facing the Canadians who were just outright favorites. And that's the beauty of the Olympics. So yeah, I don't think that our medals reflect uh how good we are as a team. I think we have a ton of other accolades that prove that with world records and world championships and World Cup medals. But at the same time, it just goes to show the beauty of the Olympics and the fact, how competitive the sport is that people show up and, we could be the best team all year, but if we're not on the best team at the right day, at the right time, and in the right race, then, they don't just hand out Olympic gold medals.
You originally got into speed skating to improve your time for hockey. So, another question would be, would you want to maybe get into the NHL? Is that a possibility? Because you'd probably be the fastest guy out there.
I don't know about that. I don't know about either of those things. I love hockey. I think I'm more geared towards a beer league, weeknight league, though.
I don't think that would be fair to others. I mean, you'd be running, skating circles around them. But as far as let's get back to the final race, right? With the Italians, at what point do you know that you're behind and you need to catch up? Are you able to view because you guys are kind of parallel? Oh, do you know that you're behind, and then what can you do to try to close that gap?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could tell we were behind because we skated past the Italian coaches and they're going like, yeah, like it was their reactions. I just kind of knew that we were behind. And at that point, our legs are just non-existent. So, we don't have another gear that we could put in. So, we I think that was probably 5 laps into that race, I think, maybe 6 laps. The last like couple laps we blew up pretty hard. Um, but we started ahead. We started like a good chunk ahead actually. And that's kind of been our way we've been skating our team pursuits is try to start as ahead as we can and hold on as long as we can. And um, when we're on a good one, usually it's probably 6 or 7 laps we can hold on, and then the last 2 laps we start to go upwards. But when they're tough races, it could be like 3 laps in and we start to blow up. It just depends on how we're feeling on the day, and especially on the second one of the day, it's just going to be exponentially harder. And so yeah, it's a brutal race, and anything can happen.
Yeah, I think Casey kind of nailed it. I mean, it's you know, Ethan and I are following Casey so closely, so we don't actually know what's going on per se. But we've done this race so many times and we practice it so many times that we have an idea of what we're capable of. And I think just based on some of the lap times we might have been seeing, and we knew we were in for a tough race, and I didn't really know that we were behind. I would say until we crossed the line, and I think that's just because I try not to look and see what the other team's doing or don't really know. And that's just goes for like every team pursuit race that we do. Is usually we just like try to be in our own world, doing our own thing, executing what we have to execute, and then the time is what the time is.
Yeah, I completely agree there. In our best races, we don't even think about the other team out there. Like during World Cups and such, we're so in our own like bubble of just the trio. And I mean, the best races, you don't even know what the lap times are because you're just so like locked in. At least for myself, into like pushing into Emery, he's pushing into Casey, and Casey's holding the track pattern, making sure we're on the right course. And so I mean, sometimes I'll catch a glimpse of the lap times, but you can definitely feel, if you're slowing down and such. And yeah, definitely the last 2 laps there, we had definitely slowed down to the point where it was like, oh shoot, like I'd be shocked if we win at this point. But also, again, we started off like we made adjustments from the quarterfinal, and I mean, we put ourselves in the position to win, and that's all you can really ask for at the end of the day. Having that control as an athlete to go out there and change it from round to round, or if it was football from play to play, you got 3 guys trying to work together, and that's not easy to do. It just shows our ability as a team, and just respect for one another to go out and make adjustments to try and make it happen. Because again, that's why people watch. The outcome's not guaranteed. At the end of the day, you still have to go out there and do it.
Well, it's interesting the dichotomy between your guys' sport and say football, basketball, boxing, MMA, where a fighter knows that they're down, right? The coach is like, hey, you need a knockout. Or in football, okay, we're down 4 points, we need a touchdown. Where you all are just you're in the moment and everything's so fast. So when I was watching back your match against Italy, I'm listening to the broadcast, and so my next question is, did you listen to the broadcast back? Because as I'm watching, I know the results, but I'm like, can't they hear the broadcast? I'm like, go, like we can still get this. Do you listen to it back? And then what are your thoughts if you do listen to it back?
You say I haven't listened to it back yet. At least, even 4 years ago, I think I've watched back our semifinal once, and that was enough for me. I was I wasn't the happiest camper after that. But again, like in the moment, like we're going for it from the gun. It's like, and the closest thing I can imagine it being is like you run out. It's like sprinting the first lap of a mile as hard as you can, and it's pot like you've held it before, but you just got to have trust that you're going to hold on to it for the next 3 laps as well and keep your legs moving. And again, like you got to have faith in the process and the training that you've gone with. And that's we were I wish we could have brought it back, but also that's just not physiologically how it works. That would be quite the feat to once you blow up the lap times, your legs start moving just in a different way, and it's pretty hard to come back, especially with how fast that we're going, because we're going out at speeds that a solo person would try and start at for a 1500 meter and then die from there. So trying to do that for 8 laps continuous is just naturally super hard on the legs.
Did anyone else watch it back? I know Emery said you didn't watch it back, but Casey, did you watch it?
I haven't watched it back either. I'm not a huge. I mean, I feel like it's hard to watch back a race that we don't win. Honestly, like it's mentally kind of hard, and it's a good thing. Like we do that throughout the World Cup season. You know, luckily we didn't have a lot of races we lost during the World Cup season, but we always try to watch back our races and see what we can do differently. And it's a big part of why we were so successful um, as a team pursuit team is that we would always discuss of like what could shave like a tenth per lap and everything. And Our coach was really involved in that too. Like for me, the track pattern is so important because you want to be as close to the blocks as possible. You want to set up the track as consistently as possible. And, Emery, he's trying to stay on me as close as possible. And Ethan's just trying to throw us out of the corner pretty much. And so, you know, I wish there was more we could do at the end of a race, but yeah, like Ethan said, our legs, there's nothing left. The gas tank is emptied, and honestly, we're just trying to stay on point. Like last year in World Championships, Emery almost gave out, and Ethan had to catch him. Literally, it's like it just shows how much lactate is just flowing through your legs, and that's why I say it's like the hardest race in speed skating because once you're done, you're done.
One of the Italian speed skaters did the Steph Curry Night Night, and I was wondering, did you all see that, and were you slighted by that at all?
I think sorry to interrupt you, Ethan, I know you're about to say. I
You're
always
good.
say I think that's better than getting 2 middle fingers from the Russians that we got in the semifinal 4 years ago. So I think they won and they're allowed to you know, celebrate the way they want. And but yeah, I just thought that was my funny statement is that it's better than 2 middle fingers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, you want like getting across the line and celebrate is what it's all about. I mean, Emery's hit him with just like the two arms up, just straight as a board. Or there's always like the stand on business. It's a big one for us at one point. I mean, I'm here for it. I mean, you just won the Olympics. That's massive in your own country. I mean, there's definitely a rivalry talked about there. So I mean, it gets the people involved, excited. It's recognizable. I just wish it could have been us.
Did you guys have a celebration for it if you would have won gold in mind?
No, I think we were more so focusing on the race rather than the I mean, I don't think we ever really plan or think about celebrations. So, we don't like to count our
Yeah,
chickens before the eggs hatch there.
I think if you watch our celebrations, they're just kind of chaotic.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
just
raw.
Bree's just like that. I'm just like whatever our hands and mouths are doing, it just kind of does its own thing.
There was a film that came out a few years ago called Icarus, a documentary, and I thought it was fascinating that the filmmaker went undercover to kind of see if he could improve his bike riding time, and then it led into this whole anti-doping scandal with Russia. So, well, as sports has evolved and as PEDs evolve, does that one cross your mind that hey, are other people still able to use? And do you think there's ways that people can go undetected in the Olympics of using PEDs and steroids?
I mean, that's hard
I
to. No, I mean, Emery, you can go for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think from what we've heard from other people, and I don't think any of us are experts on that because none of us have any uh we don't dope, so we don't have any background with that. But from what I've heard is that people that do, you heard it kind of in a lot of the documentaries like that, like Icarus, like the people that cheat are always going to be ahead of the people trying to catch them. And so I have no doubt that there's plenty of things that are either illegal being done or like on the gray line where it's not quite illegal, but it's not maybe morally right. Um,
Or
but
it's just
I
not
don't
known
think,
yet.
yeah, or just not known yet. But I definitely don't think like either the three of us are the type of people to ever be like, well, they only beat us because they're probably doping or anything like that. I think we like to think of it, think of the purity of sport and fair play. But I have no doubt. I don't know about these guys, but I have no doubt that there's people in all across Olympic sports kind of being like I thought I had heard from a figure skater that there were like 14 medals at this last games that were being reallocated from past games of people doping. And I don't know if that's a fact or not. It's probably something that can be looked up, but I just think that it's always going to be a thing. People are always going to want to, it's something that's just ingrained in sport. People just want the competitive edge and people want to win, and they're going to find there's people that find hard work and trust the process, and there's other people that try and find shortcuts.
Yeah, I think Emery said that really well. I mean, it's just unfortunately it is something that's ingrained in sport, and yeah, none of us will ever be ones to say, oh, they only beat us because we think they might be dope. Like that's never. It's just like if we got beat, we got beat. And for us, we try and focus on ourselves, and we go back to the drawing board and control what we can control, and just we got to do us because I mean, you can't control anybody else out there. You just got to have trust in WADA and USADA doing their job to make sure that it's clean and fair for everybody, and that goes for all sports.
But Emery, to your point, what you were saying was the cheaters always have it seems like a leg up. There's always these new technologies. So even though I agree with you guys, you're saying, hey, I could beat them whether or not they're doping or not. But there could be a possibility floating around out there that some people are still going undetected because of technology ramps up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think that's kind of the nature of doping and anti-doping is people the people that are testing don't know what to test for until they find out, they find what they is something that's illegal or shouldn't be done. And it's kind of they're always just going to be behind the eight ball in that sense because people are always going to find a way to find legal ways that will then turn into illegal ways for performance enhancing. And even you know whether they're morally wrong or immorally wrong, because like there's a lot of things that are banned in competition that are just like a cold medicine with a steroid in it just to help you get over a cold. And so like, so there's just people will just find ways to abuse whether they're legit medical things or illegit things to get, just that 1% boost that they think that they need for sport.
Casey, has anyone ever approached you in a dark mountain of Park City, Utah, like, hey, I can make you a little bit faster. Come with me. Has that ever came to you or any of the other guys?
It's just the advantage of living in Park City, is the altitude. I think my coach has approached me being like, "Hey, you should go higher and higher." So, I think we're using legitimate ways to like actually enhance our performance, like using science and, data to, enhance our performance. And living in Park City has its perks. We are able to train at altitude. Not a lot of European countries can say they can live at 7,000 feet and train there as well. And so it's kind of one of the perks, and such a crazy era, where now they have the enhanced games going on, and it's such a crazy um, day and age to like live in sport because it's almost normalized now, which is insane. And I'm just like proud to say that like us three, we gotten to the top without using, any enhancing drugs or anything. And, we've been on the top for the last 5 years. And even though we didn't get the gold medal, I'm still just proud to say that, you can be the best, even though there are people trying to be the best with other means. I think that's a message a lot of people can take. And, there are going to be cheaters out there, but, you gotta, first off, tell them if you find out, but also like, just know that you don't have to cheat on the test to get an A.
Has anyone approached you, Ethan or Emery at all?
No, no. I mean,
No dark alley stuff for me.
you
None of the
don't.
300-pound Chicago Bears came and like, hey, I got you guys.
Oh, it's
Well,
it's.
one of the, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's also a because there are not to justify it, but like in the case of like the Russian athletes, a lot of these guys are maybe not coming from the best upbringing. And so they're living in this town in the middle of nowhere, maybe, in a not a very fortunate situation, and then the Russian government comes to them and says, "We can give you support, your family support, and you can be one of the best athletes in the world for whatever sport it is, but you have to do and take and do everything we say." That I think that's while I still think doping's wrong, it's a completely different situation than someone from like the States or Canada or somewhere where it's not like a government run. And obviously, I still don't condone it, but I think the Russian athletes and maybe some of the other athletes from countries like that, where their kind of hands are tied, where it's like you can either skate and dope and do everything we say, or you're not going to skate ever or represent Russia, and you can just be in your little town, and that's that. So I think they're put in a it's not as black and white for them as it is for us. Like if it was one of us, then it's like we have all the opportunities to do it fair and clean. And so like if we do take the bad path, it's wrong. It's just wrong. Whereas for them, it's a little bit more of, a little because of the government and the way the state sport is ran in places like Russia, it's a little bit there's a little bit more of a gray area. Not to say that it's right, but it's not as black and white as it is for like an American athlete doing it.
So, Ethan, how often do you get tested? Is it before the games, after the games, 6 months, 3 months?
I mean, let's see. As we get closer and closer to the games, and like, because we live in 4-year cycles, I have a feeling this upcoming year is probably going to be one of my less tested years. Just probably get tested around like once a month or once every few months. With them like knocking at the door, you'll get tested throughout competitions, like randomly selected. We'll take blood of everybody at a certain competition, and I don't know. I mean, recently it's probably more like once every 2 or 3 weeks. I would say going into the Olympics and such, just got to be ready for them to show up at whatever time your hour is or outside of that. And I mean, it's a it's annoying, but at the same time, it's a part of you want to be part of a fair system and show like it takes what it takes. We got to be willing to do that if we want to be on a clear playing field and have USADA show you know be a beacon of what clean sport should and could be. Just set the
Are
standard.
they urine tests or is it blood tests or is it a mixture of both?
Usually a mixture of both. Sometimes just urine. Like if you get tested after a race immediately after, it's usually just urine. Going into a competition weekend, like the ISU International Skating Union does, they have like a blood passport thing to kind of check values and keep just a database on you. Because some people's blood profiles are completely different. It's like some people have naturally higher hematocrit or hemoglobin, and so I don't know, that can be, I believe, a signal of like EPO use if it's like all of a sudden super super high, because that's what helps carry like oxygen to your muscles. But some people, just based on where you're born, like if you're born in Park City, you might just naturally have like a higher level to that because you adapted as a baby or as a kid or through time. And some people don't have that, and so it's just making sure like it's consistent from throughout your whole career, or at least with like a natural progression to look out for. So it's just things to look out for, stuff like
Well,
that.
one of the things, like, so for example, like Casey, this question would be for you. Like peptides is a big thing. Joe Rogan talks about it. You have all these Gary Brecka peptides. Are certain things legal and on the fringe? And then are you guys taking any of these things to kind of help you all out?
Obviously, there's other countries, testing out different things. I think, we don't do that just because it's such a gray area and you don't want anything to show up on a test because that's an automatic, 4-year ban or like, I don't know how long it is. I think it's a big ban. And, we always try to stay within the limits. We know what, we put in our bodies and stuff, but, there's I think some people were using like thyroid medication. There's like birth control stuff that people were trying out. There's a bunch, like even I think somebody got pulled for using a medicated skin treatment. Yeah, there's anything with a little bit of steroid, whatever, will pop up on a test, and you could get banned for that. So we try to stay within the lines for sure, because um, read they give you a little docket, they give you a book, and it updates every year, and it tells you what's added to the list, and what you can't take and everything. And but there's some natural ways that we like try to enhance our performance. I mean, it wouldn't enhance it through illegal terms, but like fueling correctly and everything. And there's a recent um, development in the cycling community that we can use in our community, as well as ketones, which a lot of people have been on the train for. Ketones, um, they I don't know the exact science behind it. I bet Ethan knows more than me, but it's it's a good replacement to, having to take like a lot of carbohydrates and stuff before a race. And it's supposed to be kind of supplement that, and use that as energy, and kind of offset um, not having to fuel as much as far as like carbohydrates before a race goes. Um, and it's kind of like replaces those carbohydrates. And
It
I don't know exact
it
science.
it helps bring in just like another energy system, because like your body, like when you enter ketosis after not eating for a while, your body produces ketones, and that kind of keeps you energized and use your fat stores. So if you're losing weight, like you want to get to that point. Um, but like exogenous ones are just, they come in, they help you again utilize a bit more fat, like not burning, but they last longer. So like they're huge in cycling because they're racing for 7 hours a day potentially, and it's tiny. But then for athletes like us, it's a long race day. We go out on the ride, or we ride for hours at a time as well throughout the summer and such. And so I mean, again, everything that I've taken is like NSF certified for sport, because you know the biggest thing is like with doping and such, it's to make sure that athletes don't have to be put in a position to harm their bodies and like the future of their lives to try and win a race and such, because you got people out there trying so hard just to win one moment that they might literally harm themselves for the future. And it's it's all, you want to do everything, you want to still live a healthy lifestyle throughout this, because again, there's life after sport. And I mean, I love being an athlete. We know it's going to be over at some point, but yeah, making sure you're understanding what you take, and making sure you have a reason for it is huge.
It's interesting, the steroid topic, because me working with some of the UFC guys, like a good buddy of mine, Nick Diaz, he had a big main event fight against Anderson Silva about 10 years ago. And then Anderson Silva busted for every steroid I think there was. Because I was wondering, when he was punching him, he wasn't feeling the punches. I'm like, wait, is there something going on? So again, when people cheat, and as to again what Emery was saying, as long as there's a way to do it, I think some human beings will do it. One of the things, though, also about these games were a little bit different. It became politicized because of some comments made, and just what was the climate like when Hunter Hess went back and forth with the media? And I don't even think it was an American reporter. I think it was a foreign reporter that asked them about what was going on here. But did that change the energy out there, and did you guys feel that at all?
All right. No, I don't really think so. I mean, I thought our reception at the games was amazing. I mean, we had a lot of support, especially on the team pursuit final day. Just, it was awesome to see lots of American flags out there, you know, proud of our performance, proud to celebrate our silver medal. And I mean, it's always going to be, politics is always going to be brought into everything, but we were accepted with welcome arms to, the Olympics and to Italy, and, they did an amazing job hosting us.
Yeah, I think, there's definitely a lot of political things going on at our games. And, I think trying to block that out as much as you can because, we're there to compete in the end. We're there to perform at our best. It's easy to get caught up in the outside noise. On my first race day, JD Vance was, and I didn't even realize that he was there after, but it doesn't change how we compete. It's our moment, it's our moment because we spent the last 4 years training for this moment, and we're trying to represent our country no matter the political climate. We grew up in the U.S. We grew up to represent the flag that we grew up under, and I think that's what makes the Olympics so special. Is the unity we have at the games and to be able to compete against every single country in the world and to meet all the different athletes and to share the same end goal and to just compete at the highest level. I think that's just what makes the Olympics so cool. And it's just amazing to be in the situation. Um and yeah, I think it's just we leave it all out there to make everyone that we know at home proud. And I think that's why the Olympics are so cool, for sure.
So, Emery, when you heard kind of what the skiers were saying, in your thought process, do you completely block it out? Do you have an opinion on it? And double barrel is, did some of the quarters try to bait you into a soundbite as well?
I think our media, the woman who runs our media for us had kind of warned us about this, and I don't think this is. I don't know if that was Hunter's first Olympics. And I don't think so, just based on his results in the past. But we've kind of gone through enough media training and gotten done enough interviews to know, like, if you want that spotlight, go ahead and speak out. If you don't, like, there's a lot of other stressful things going on at the Olympics, like getting used to the new ice, the new food, the transportation system, getting unpacked, getting settled. So there's like a lot of things that our team tries to do to reduce the stress of going into the games because it's already stressful enough. And so um, our heart definitely went out for Hunter, who like definitely had a tough week, and he even said it was like one of the toughest couple weeks of his life with all the attention he was getting, primarily negative. So it's always tough to see when your fellow Team USA athletes go through that. But like Casey said, we had our eyes on one very specific goal, and we just tried to stay as focused on that and do everything we could to make that happen.
Most people in this world will never know what it feels like to go to even Olympic Village. So, can you kind of, you went to two Olympic villages, Beijing and Italy. Which one was better? And Dan Henderson says some things allegedly could have or could not have happened with him meeting other people from other countries. So what was that like, that experience for you all?
Well, Emery's been to four, but
Yeah, that was my fourth Olympic Village.
yeah, I think compared to Beijing, for me personally, it was definitely a step up. I think, well, the nations were completely different. In Beijing, you know, everything was pretty much complete. Um, and we had like our own apartment where the whole kind of like the boys' side of the long track team stayed in the apartment, and we had a common room and everything. And I thought that was unique in itself. But at these games, we everyone, the short track, long track, um, figure skating, hockey, we were all in the same building and like kind of concentrated into like 2 or 3 floors. And I feel like there was more opportunity at these games to mingle with everyone. We could hang out in the lounge together, talking to like Elisa Liu and all the figure skaters. Uh, I feel like it's a little bit more close knit at these games, which was cool in its own way. And I think that has to do with the lack of pandemic these games offered. Uh, COVID definitely tainted the experience in Beijing, especially for me with showing up late and everything. But just the whole vibe was different. You could walk around freely, talk to all the other athletes. You could actually talk to people in the dining hall as well. Didn't have to separate each other with little dividers. We could actually socialize. Uh, you know, the one thing about the games is that you're gonna get sick of the food no matter what. That's just the, you know, sake of the matter. No matter how good the food is, you're just gonna get sick of it. But I think it was all a positive experience, and I think it was definitely a step up as far as and also we were able to leave the village too. I think that's a whole 'nother thing too. In Beijing, we were just locked into the village, and that's it. So I think just that whole atmosphere was a lot more positive for sure.
Yeah, for me, this was by far the best, I think out of the 4 that I went to, the best Olympic experience, just with the location, the accessibility. I mean, the one thing it didn't really have was an Olympic park and a medal plaza, but with the exception of those 2 things, like maneuverability, how cool the city was, the sights, just I thought the way it was put together, it was the most fun and coolest Olympics I think I've definitely been to.
Yeah, vibes are definitely much higher this time than in Beijing. Yeah, I think Casey nailed it there though. Just with it's hard to really host a community event when there's a pandemic going on and you got to get, a cotton swab in the back of your throat every day just to make sure you don't have COVID. So it was definitely nice and way more relaxing this time to freely kind of spread out and yeah, mingle. I mean, pin trading's a massive thing at the Olympics. And so that was is awesome to walk out of the village and you have guys just full of like scarves full of pins or just like cardboard wanting to trade whatever they can with you. And so yeah, the Olympics is a community event. The whole point is to, unite the world. And when everybody's scared of getting sick and not being able to compete, it definitely puts a damper on things. And so, getting to experience this games with our families as well was also a massive upgrade because the Olympic experience isn't meant to be solo. And, it certainly takes a village for every individual there to get or to reach it. So,
When you guys got home from winning the silver medal, do the DMs go up of requests, and what are some, like, weird, quirky, or cool things that you guys have gotten in your DMs?
Yeah, no, I definitely got some weird or not, I just sent a lot of requests. I think one of them was, I don't know, this guy was like, "Yo, send me like a second clip or something for my frat," and it's I don't know, it's some funny thing. People asking for skin suits, people asking for Olympic gear, obviously people are gonna see you on TV, so they're gonna be like, "Hey, maybe that guy has an extra jacket that they could donate me," or whatever, it's always funny, and I think, some of the cooler ones is just, like, people wanting us to talk to their, elementary school class. I think it's always cool to get those requests because, we're always here to inspire the next generation, and, but yeah, it's definitely gone up for sure.
yeah, thankfully I didn't get too much weird stuff. That was, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I can't remember who got asked for something like, somebody got asked something sexual if they're ever in New York. That was just like, what the heck? Like, that was just kind of bonkers. But yeah, getting like requests for postcards and such to schools is always, the goal is to inspire the next generation to dream and believe in themselves and, think outside of their towns and what's out in the world. I think I got a request for my skins bag though, and unfortunately, your girlfriend already called it by that point, and it's always just you never know who's gonna ask for what.
Good thing about that skins bag, the whole Team USA got the same request from this one girl that lives like, I'm gonna be the coolest person in college, and I think
Yes.
she literally DM'd every single person because I asked, I think everyone on my team, they're like, "Hey, did you get this DM?" I was like, "Yeah, I got it." And then the figure skaters, the same thing, everyone. So it's pretty hilarious the extent people will go to.
Emery, what about you? What were if you were to show us your phone right now, what would we see?
Oh, man, I didn't get anything crazy, really. Um, I feel like I've gotten some in the past, but it was pretty tame, maybe because I'm old and not as cool as these guys.
Uh, Looking forward, right, for Casey and Ethan, what's next? I mean, Emery, he's retiring. Do you see the two of you make another run? Are you gonna bring Jordan in? Who's gonna be your third man up?
I mean, so far, I mean, I think we're more focused on individual stuff after this. Yeah, it is hard if you don't have a definite third. And I mean, I think we're gonna, yeah, focus a little bit more on the individual side. Maybe we'll still be teammates after this, I think, training towards those goals. And, if in the next 4 years we have somebody that is interested, I mean, I'm always open for it because it has helped. It's been a huge defining moment or process in my career. So, I mean, we're in a good place right now, and just trying to appreciate that. But
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I think I'm just trying to have fun these next 4 years. I think the team pursuit, uh, added a lot of stress to us. Honestly, I think these boys can agree. It's a pretty stressful race because there's just so much pressure put onto us because we go into a weekend expecting to win, and I think that's one thing that is kind of hard on us mentally and physically as well. And I think that's one thing that not a lot of people talk about is how much of a burden it puts on us mentally when we don't win. And I think um, I'm just looking forward to the next 4 years to being able to like be content with everything we did in the team pursuit and then move on and focus on my individual pursuits. The last year I got a gold in the World Cup in the 5K. And that's just purely mostly on team pursuit training and not a lot of individual training. We still did a lot of individual stuff just to make us stronger. But I'm just looking forward to, really modifying my program to make me the strongest athlete I can be as an individual. I think, that's what all the other countries have going for them is that they all are the strongest in the world individually. We're all not nearly as good as them as like individual skating goes. You know, Emery, he's in the A group for the 1500. And Ethan, he's, consistently making the A group for the mass start. But we're usually not on the podium or near the podium. And I think that's one thing, the next 4 years, I want to, try to be the top of the podium individually, but not have the pressure that I did going into a team pursuit. Like I want to approach a weekend with a ease of mind, whatever happens, happens. Um, and I just want to have fun too. I want to also try out some bike racing too, just to dabble with in some training as well. It just kind of do my thing the next 4 years and not really care how the training goes, but still put in the work as much as I can.
Emery, so what's left for you? What are you looking to pursue? I know years ago, Olympic athletes weren't making great money. Has that changed now? Are you gonna have to get a 9 to 5, or will you be able to stay in that space? And are there a influx of sponsors 'cause you are an Olympic medalist?
Not quite an influx of sponsorships. We are collectively sponsored by Drink Rebellious, which is a beverage company out of Chicago that has played a huge role in funding us and helping us achieve this Olympic medal. I think without them, we would have had to have part-time jobs and get part-time gigs, which kind of impacts your training. But as far as it goes for me going forward, yeah, I gotta join the real world, man. Get a real job, and I'm eyeing something in Chicago, and we'll see if that all falls through and happens. But um, I'll do maybe a little coaching on the side. But yeah, I'll definitely be taking a big step back from what I was doing, which was training and trying to master the team pursuit with these two guys.
And the second to last question, and this is for everyone, is Casey brought this up, the mental part of this. Well, we're in a day and age where the cell phone, social media has led to this incline of mental health issues with people your guys' age, younger, older. I mean, all across the walks of life. And mental health seems to be that thing that holds a lot of people back. So, if you were to talk to people that deal with that, h and they wanna make it in whatever it is, whether it's a nurse, chiropractor, maybe they wanna be like you guys and, be medalists in team pursuit. How do they work on their mental toughness, that mental stability? So, well, this is for all 3 of you.
Yeah, I think one thing that people struggle with is just, they see something and they think Olympic medalist or world champion or just, being an athlete, and they think it like they see the big grand picture, but they don't realize how many tiny steps it has taken to get there. And so like you try to swallow your whole or your meal as like one bite, that's impossible. And so, taking your time, being content with the steps you take, because like the next step or the most important step is the next one, and keeping on with that consistency over time, like physically and mentally. And because you're looking to build a lifestyle out of it at the end of the day, and that involves being well rounded in a bunch of different ways. And I mean, I know for myself, I started with with a sports psych this year, and that really helped me just kind of stay, honest and real with my own training, and just again staying even, being open, and I mean, finding a community is also just a massive part of it. You're not going through anything alone. There's a lot of people that have probably gone through what you have tried to go through, and I mean, don't be afraid to ask a question. I mean, we do it all the time. We lean on each other. We ask each other questions. How did that feel? How do you feel about this? Like, if you've gone through this before, what's it been like? And, it only makes you closer with those around you, and it'll help you keep going.
Yeah, I agree, and I think, uh, social media, it glorifies everything. People post things that you think you want to, like other people want to see. And we saw a big influx of that at the games. It's such a big moment for people to post their experiences and everything, and uh, show the bright side of the games, and what's the food like and what's this like and everything. And I uh they don't show like the true side of the games. And it's it's the kind of sad reality of the games, because you want it to be such a positive experience, but not everything's going to be positive at the games. There's going to be moments where you have to rethink everything, and you not everything goes your way at the games is also like a big thing. It You're competing against people that are also, that have also worked the last 4 years or whatever to get there as well, and they're gonna be at the same level, if not sometimes higher than you. And um, it's tough to try to be yourself, but I think that's one thing that I really focus on is to be authentic with who I am and not try to be someone else that I'm not. Um, I tried to spend as little time as I could on social media at the games. The first week I posted a lot and I showed, things people wanted to see, but then I had to rethink it because I'm like, that's not really who I am.
Mm.
And I had to really, you know, tell myself, hey, post things that you want to post. You know, don't think about what other people are going to think. Just be yourself. Stay authentic to yourself because at the end of the day, I post for me personally to look back on in like 10 years from now because it's kind of like a journal of my life. And I think it's cool that we have this, tool that we can use to uh, post things for friends and family. That's originally why I got Instagram for my friends and family to see what I'm doing. But now, with the big influx of followers, now these followers can see what I'm doing. And I think it's cool that you can use this platform to inspire and show the true side of sport and true side of me. And so, yeah, I think mentally it can be hard seeing everyone, the glorified uh, image of the games and people's lives, but you just got to remember who you are and not forget that.
Gotta remember to unmute myself. I think those two kind of nailed it. Like I think there's a lot of distractions, a lot of instant gratification comes with social media. Not to say that the three of us don't use it. I use it. I love going on it. But there definitely is a reality check. Like when we post about winning a medal, people might see that, but they're not seeing the hours and hours and hours of training that we don't post about. And that, yeah, there's just in every, not just speed skating, but whatever, no matter what people are posting about for, the success or the hard work that they've come about or earned. Um, it's just they're posting the end result and sometimes not all the process. I think Casey does a very good job of posting the process. And like he said, I think it's good content that he wants to post. And I think he documents it well. Um, but at the end of the day, I don't know for sure about Casey, but at the end of the day, I think people only on along the lines of instant gratification only want to see him maybe or anyone post about a medal. And that's kind of like the sad part about it. Is it's much more interesting learning about the journey and the hard work and all the self-sacrifice, which we think is cooler and behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, people are just going on there for the quick 10-15 second video or just see the medal or see you with a celebrity or whatnot. So yeah, we definitely try and manage it. I probably do the poorest job of not being on my phone too much, but I definitely try and manage it, manage expectations, and take it for what it is.
I like what you all said. I mean, Casey said, stay authentic. Emery, you said that you're not showing the blood, sweat, and tears of practice. The times where it's like, I don't think we're ever going to make it, right? It's people just want to see instant gratification these days, and maybe that's what separates you all from that 1% that makes it to the top of their profession. We always end fourth and Favre with a Hail Mary question. And so, my Hail Mary question, and this is obviously for each one individually, is what's the biggest fight in your mind that you got in with Casey, Ethan, Emery, whoever that person is? What was the biggest fight like, and what was the outcome of that fight? Give us some dirt of, I'm ready to quit this team. You're nothing to me. And then you make up. Well, what's the biggest thing in your mind? We'll start with Ethan.
So 4 years ago, Casey is a whole lot more responsible on just, having his equipment now than back then. And so we used to go on these excursions. Just we'd bring bike trainers up to random altitude places. And for a whole summer, Casey somehow just forgot one. and we were all kind of fed up with it because our coach would also get a little mad. And we go up to this place called Bald Mountain out in by Mirror Lake in Utah, and Casey forgot his trainer. It's wet, it's cold. We're high, like, thank God we brought tarps. Like, we set up tarps, and we get there, and Casey's like, "Oh, I don't have a trainer. I'm just gonna ride on the road." Yada yada yada, and I don't. It was all just. It was not our best day or happiest moments, and eventually, I didn't bring a helmet because again, we're on trainers. I had to go out, talk to Casey. We're try and smooth things over a little bit. There's a photo of me, and I'm wearing one of the girls' helmets, and it's sitting on me like basically like a yarmulke. Honestly, if I crashed, it wouldn't have done anything. And thankfully, I was just trying to be it wasn't like angry, but it was just very like trying to relate everything, and that just sticks out in my head of trying to get through. And since then, it's been uh, quite a bit better.
Did
And I
Casey
don't
know
think
how you felt, Ethan, in that moment?
that's a really
Okay.
yeah. I was just trying
No,
to
I
be.
also was like pissed off. I think I was just like, I'm riding in the rain. I forgot my trainer. People are mad at me. I'm like, stay away from me. But then, I knew that they were trying to just be good teammates and, whatever. And I think for me, uh, yeah, like I was definitely not the most responsible person when I was probably 4 years ago. I feel like they almost just kicked me off the team because I was like late all the time, forgot stuff. And I was like, well, one night it finally clicked. I was like, all right, these people hate me. So I gotta change something. Like there's an interview on the actually at the last games, with our old teammate Joey Mantilla. And I think I forgot what the question was, but um, you know, what's one thing like I think it was like what's one thing that teammates does that annoys us? And I think it was like Casey being late all the time. And I was like definitely a serial being late to practice and stuff. Um, it's definitely I've definitely changed, and it's never happened in the last 3 years, luckily. Uh, yeah, it's definitely one thing that we've gotten in a few arguments about for sure.
I thought you were gonna say 3 weeks, or 3 months. I'm glad you said 3 years, Casey. Uh,
I would say
in your
hate is a
mind
strong word there, but
Yeah.
it was just frustration.
so Casey, in your mind, what was your biggest qualm with Emery or Ethan in the time you all have been together? So that was Ethan's story, but for you, what was it?
um, hmm. Well, it's definitely that the most real one. But I think probably well with Ethan, it was him. I left chocolate on the couch one time in Norway, um, and it melted, and he fell asleep on the chocolate and like for a nap, and he woke up and pitch black in the apartment because the sun goes down at like 3 p.m. there, and I was squinting and I looked at Ethan and I saw a little bit of chocolate on him, and then with light, it was all over him, just chocolate all over him, and I was like, "Is that chocolate all over you, Ethan?" He was like, "What?" He was just in a complete daze, and, uh, it was hilarious, but then they were like, "All right, Casey, you're never eating chocolate on anywhere again. Only your bed you can have chocolate or your room, but you can't have it outside the room."
You just say, I feel like we said you got to eat at the table. It was the first week of a trip. I passed out on the couch and it was dark. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was good. Thankfully, that
Emery,
wasn't
what was
anger.
your biggest fight with Ethan or Casey, and what was the outcome of it?
I don't know if it's a big fight, but I think the biggest thing over the last 6 or 8 years of us training together has definitely been, getting these guys to, um, think of themselves as professional athletes. I think, like, when I
Mm.
kinda joined the team, they were both pretty young and, both in college. Ethan had just moved out here, Casey was in college, and they were kinda looking, in my eyes, looking at themselves as like, "Yeah, we're just, like, speed skaters," and they weren't looking at themselves as, like, at the time, we didn't really know it, but, we could think it, like, you guys are professional athletes that are wanting to go to the Olympics and win a medal. Um, and in order to do that, you have to kind of carry yourself that way, not in a cocky and, in your face way, but you have to hold yourself responsible. You have to train hard. You have to show up. You have to be prepared, like all those little things. And that was kind of like one thing that's been super cool to see these two guys as they get older is like they've said, like Casey's moved out away from home and Ethan's moved in with his girlfriend. So like they've done a lot of, and so is Casey as well. Um, they've just done like so much maturing, and now like when they show up to the rink now, it's like they're Olympic medalist athletes who are there to compete. So it's like the been biggest thing. But I feel like for the first year or two, I felt like I was like even like at a World Cup, you'd walk into their room at a World Cup and it's just like trash everywhere, and you're just like guys like how are you gonna race fast this weekend if you can't find your skin suit or your room key because your room's a mess? Just like little things like that. So that has been the biggest thing. And I think the biggest change I've seen out of these two, and you can really tell that they've matured a lot in that respect. But those first couple of years on the team, it was like banging my head against the wall. I felt like I was like their mother or something. Still do, but felt like I was their mom harping at them.
As you guys go your separate ways, I think it's cool to end with, well, what's one word that would describe your team as it's now going to be disbanded? What's one adjective you would describe? Let's start with Ethan.
Oh, what adjective? Um, guy. I would still just say underdogs.
Okay, underdogs. Casey?
I mean, we call ourselves a pain train. I feel like that just kind of describes who we are. No matter what, we're gonna get to the line, no matter how painful it is, and it's always gonna be painful. But we fight like a train. We just keep going. So pain train.
Yeah, I think mine would be game changers, just with how we kind of changed the way team pursuits were skated by every country, setting world records, World Cup wins. I think, yeah, just game changers.
The Game Changers, Team USA. Emery Lehman, Casey Dawson, Ethan Cepuran, thank you so much for coming on Fourth and Favre. Congratulations, and thank you for bringing home a medal for the red, white, and blue.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thanks for having us.